Inspire and inform you endlessly, with knowledge to guide, uplift and grow. Thank you for joining, it's a journey, let's go. To all the new subscribers, welcome aboard. We're so glad you're here, there's so much in store. Returning friends, thank you once again. Together we'll learn and share the game. From wisdom to insight, each video's a gift, helping you rise, giving your spirit a lift. So hit that subscribe, stay tuned to see all the great things on Dr. Bummy Able TV. To all the new subscribers, welcome aboard. We're so glad you're here, there's so much in store. Returning friends, thank you once again. Together we'll learn and share the game. To all the new subscribers, welcome aboard. We're so glad you're here, there's so much in store. Returning friends, thank you once again. Together we'll learn and share the game. Dr. Bummy Able TV here for you. Inspire, educate, inform. That's what we do. Thanks for being part of this growing family. Let's keep shining together in unity.
Hello, and hello again. Nice to know you are here waiting. Hello. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are around the globe. Thank you very much for finding time out of no time to be here. Thank you, Nicola. Thank you, Auntie Pat. Thank you to myself also for everyone here and who will be joining us later. Really appreciate your time. For those watching behind the scene, nice to have you here. Today it is about mental health, not just mental health on a large scale, but mental health awareness, particularly for children and teens. If you know anyone who is an expert in this and would like to contribute, write in the chat or type a question, or a parent who is struggling with this kind of topic for their children or their carers, or no, not carers now, the wards, whatever it is. If they need to be here, please send them this link and let us all brainstorm together and let us learn from ourselves. So thank you very much for being here. We will go straight into it because of our time. And the first question goes to you, Nicola. What are some common signs that a child or teen may be struggling with their mental health?
Well, thank you, and hello, and thank you for inviting me to be on the show. It's really a great topic to get stuck into today, especially as being a mental health nurse and being the mental health nurse for the past around 2016. I've been a mental health nurse, and so I've got to experience and see some of the signs that children and particularly teens may face when they're suffering with mental health conditions and issues. So, first of all, there may be some emotional changes. So we may see some persistent sadness or low mood. We may see some increased irritability, or you might start to see some frequent mood swings. There's also an aspect of excessive worry, fear, or anxiety, and you may be able to hear them express signs of hopelessness and worthlessness, or they may simply just start getting angrier and start having more outbursts of wrath. So we also see as well that there may be aspects of behavioral changes. So withdrawal from friends, from family, and from the usual social activities that they used to enjoy. There may be a decline in academic performance or school refusal. And sadly, you may even start to see increased use of reckless or risky behavior, such as alcohol, drugs, or even as horrible as self-harm. Of course, there are other aspects as well, like physical symptoms, so appetite changes, the lack of energy, excessive sleeping, a lot of staying time in their rooms and sleeping away, or not allowing you in their rooms, just being very protective of their space and environment. It really does affect every area of their lives, really. Every child is different, so you'll see it manifest in different ways in different children. But of course, when we do see these effects, it really is important as parents to pay attention to what's going on with our children so we can get straight in there and support them the help they need.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much. Is there any other contribution from anyone? Yes. I'm trying to remove that background noise. All right. Thank you very much, Nicola. That states it. Or some of them even lose um appetite for food and all that. But there's a question I have. You know, teenage years are times where they grow, and definitely the hormones are kicking in, and sometimes it could be moody mood swings and all that. How do you differentiate between the growth kind of mood swing and the mental health kind of mood swing, or is it all part of the same thing?
I think every person, let alone every child, has a baseline. So when we
Mm,
say baseline, we mean a normal way of behaving or a normal way of their temperament being. So everyone has a baseline, a normality to how they would normally behave, act, think. So when you start to see strange differences, high or low, you start to see like marked differences from what they normally are. That's when we can start to see there may be an issue going on there.
mm. Wow. Thank you. Thank you very much. Any other addition to that? The question is, what are some common signs, maybe you've seen or experienced or heard about or in your study? Thank you very much. And mental health nurse is here. Nurse, not nurse. Nurse. Nicola is here, and she's just shown us what signs to look out for. So, are there any other examples, or do we just go ahead with the questions we have for today? Welcome here, Queen Tara. You are welcome here.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
So,
So we go on to the next question. I'm sure they're all interwoven, because you say something here, and then you see that it will still answer another question in another question. Will be said in another question. So I'll go on. Is how can parents create a safe and open environment for kids to talk about their emotions? I know, when was it we talked about emotions? Was it last? No, last week was financial. There
about
was a time
two,
we talked
three
about.
weeks. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So how can parents create that safe and open environment for kids to talk about their emotions?
I think the very first thing parents can do is to ensure that their children know that they're loved. And that's a very, not, I would say loved, because most parents love their children. But do the children feel that love? One, the things that we interpret as love most times is not what our kids interpret as love. We think most times love is what we do for them. Many times we don't look at the emotions when we look at showing them love. So I think the first thing is love, but I think the most crucial thing for me will be acceptance and being a safe place for the children. Because you see, when the kids understand that mommy, daddy accept them no matter what happens, then they can come to you. You can provide that safe place that they're able to talk about their emotions. When you do not invalidate their feelings or their emotions and put it down as, oh, maybe they're just playing, or they're too young, or you don't even appreciate what they're saying, because of course you can't see from their perspective, then that's a problem. So I think also letting them know that, I'll give an example. My kids and my husband, we normally had family meetings at the end of every year. And in that family meeting, just before the year turned, we would tell each other what we liked about each other, what we didn't like about each other. So the children had that opportunity to tell us how we had behaved during the year. We had the opportunity to tell them how they had behaved during the year, the highs and the lows. But we always ended it with, no matter what happens, you can always come home. I'm a big believer in that. No matter what you do, we'll always love you. And so I think that's one. It's the parents' responsibility and duty, actually, to create that safe space. So where to ensure that they're comfortable in our presence, comfortable with us to be able to share. My kids tell me some things that in my heart I'm doing, but you know, my husband kept on saying that, you know what, just be happy that they're sharing, that they're talking. You know, if they can talk, that means that they are comfortable enough, you know, to talk. So they will tell us things, but we can't immediately react to those things, because once we react, especially negatively to those things, they stand back and say, oh, mommy would not, or daddy would not like me to say things in this nature. Or when we even make flippant remarks about situations that maybe we see on TV or whatever, and we're very judgmental. Our children today, you know, they're very open to a lot of to a lot of experiences, to a lot of information, and then so we're judgmental about stuff that they might have been curious about but not even accepting, but they'll just say, oh, those are things we can't talk to mommy and daddy about. So I think it's, in essence, you know, allowing them to be themselves, ensuring that they're comfortable to be themselves with us, and that they can say anything. So far they're not disrespectful, they can say anything they want to say, and we can now guide them, and we'll find out that when the tough things do come, you know, they will really open up to us.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's so insightful. Thank you to Chavez Julio Campbell as well for that contribution about allowing them to be them. So as soon as that came up, you also mentioned it, so it was like it's all clicked together, saying allowing our children to be themselves. So thank you very much for adding that to it. And for those who are behind the scene, yeah, write your comments, please. Let's hear from you. Let's see how you have navigated this road, and what tips and tricks you can bring to the table. It is an interactive session, and we would like it to remain so. Now, my next question is, before I go to the next question, is there any addition to what has been said?
Yes,
Okay.
I add something else to that.
Okay.
I think that question is, how do we create a safe environment?
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed that with parenting doesn't have just one style. You know, like my other speaker said, you need to create that environment. You need to ensure that, you know, they feel loved. Sometimes, you know, I've said this to a few of my friends.
Come on, internet.
Somewhere,
To us.
maybe you can just do girls' day out. It's not because, you know, I just have money to splash out, but honestly, it's for the relationship. You need to have that kind of relationship with your children, where that kind of environment, they just let off the guard, they tell you anything. Oh, so what's happening in Chelsea's life, what's happening here, you know, what has been going on. Honestly, they will open up to you. They might not be able to tell you some things inside the house, but just create an environment where they can feel safe and they can talk to you. They know that you will not be judged. There are a few things that my children have said. If I say this to you, I hope no, I'm not going to judge you. I'm just going to listen. And honestly, sometimes they don't need you to give them advice. They just want you to listen to them, just to know that you are there. It doesn't matter what has happened or what will happen or what they're experiencing, but the fact that you are there to listen and you're not going to judge them. So there's no point them outside, they're being bullied, they're being harassed, and then they come to the house again. You're also out heaping up abuses, making negative comments, and all of that to the children. It will not help. So with parents, you need to be wise. We need to be wise to know our children, how to help them, how to support them. There are things that they might not be able to tell you. They might be going through abuse. A relationship may not work out well, and all sorts of things. But you need to listen to them. You really need to listen to them.
Yeah.
Sorry, can
Thank you.
I just add that also, I think it's very important because
Am I
we
frozen?
always downplay the role of emotions, and
Can you
a lot
hear me?
of us, yes, we can, and a lot of us grew up, you know,
Hello.
not acknowledging.
Ooh, what's going on?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. A lot of us grew up not acknowledging our emotions.
Can
And
you hear
so
me?
for our children, it is
Oh dear.
quite important that we teach them how to acknowledge, to learn about their emotions, to label the emotions and to accept their emotions for what they are, and show them that emotions are feelings. They point to, a deeper thing happening within you, but they're like pointers, so that you look into what is,
Can you hear me
happening
now?
within you.
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us? Okay, don't worry. I'll sort that out later. Okay, sorry about that.
So,
Sorry for
yeah,
cutting you.
so learning about our emotions is quite important. From childhood, we don't say, "Oh, you're a cry baby." Why are you crying? Why do you think you have to cry for this? The more that we allow our children to understand the emotions, to accept that emotions, to own the emotion rather, the more they'll feel free, to even express their emotions properly and to come to us with those emotions.
True. Thank you very much. Thank you. Um, thank
Wanted to
you
add as
to
well
all the. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
that it's important to be aware of our own emotions as parents, because how we act literally has an effect on how they are.
Hello, can you hear me?
Directly has an impact. So, for example, if we are having a difficult conversation, if our child is opening up to us about react to something that they share, because something that they shared could be really important to them and they found it really, really difficult to say it in the first place. But if we overreact to that and instantly go into shouting at them or judging them or getting angry, we are going to have the opposite effect of what we really are trying to achieve, which is for them to open up even more. And also, I always try to end our discussion with prayer, because God is in this as well. God is right in the middle of this conversation, and He has all the solutions. He has all the answers, and He has a peace that surpasses understanding. So, literally, when we pray and we give Him all our issues, all our anxious thoughts, all our problems, He literally comes in like a flood and helps the child to work it out in their mind and sort this out, and gives them peace, a peace that surpasses understanding, and it builds bonds and closeness together with myself and my child as well. So yeah, praying is important too.
True. That's correct. Thank you very much. So there's so many strands to this particular question, and somebody has answered how he does. It says, Chavez, thank you very much for joining. And he says, I game with my son, so I know certain languages they use, and also I always talk to my son like a man, so he knows what to expect as at a certain age, but the same time I offer help. Thank you very much for sharing that. So playing games with them, safe spaces are always open, full of love. Thank you, Traders Leaderboard Project. It said, be it tough or smooth without judgment or condemnation. I'm sure we've all heard that we listen, we don't judge. I tried that in my house. Was it 2 weeks ago? We listen, we don't judge. And of course, the typical Nigerian friend. You want to put on the instructor mode. You want to put on the teacher's hat. Like, oh, this is what to do. This is one. I always kept saying, we listen, we don't judge. It got to a stage my husband was like, what is this? We listen, we don't judge. It doesn't matter to say anything. It was so funny, but it was a good try. Even it helped. And please, everyone, try that one of these days. We listen, we don't judge, and let's see how much of information we'll get. And I know different families have their own way of communicating with their children. So whatever we do, let love be the focus. Emotional support is important by asking questions, seeing how they get emotional. And one other person says, monthly family voices and choices can also help. So in their family, the ADMs, thank you very much for joining in. She says monthly family voices. Okay, so you can see so many things coming up now. People do different things in different ways, and it's so wonderful to see. It's also important to know what habits they may adopt from you as a parent. Wow, there's so many coming in. I think if we carry on reading, we won't stop. All right. Thank you very much. It's so nice to see that we all try. It's just about being intentional. These things, they're not things we Some people were strange. And yesterday I interviewed a lady. My goodness, I wish everyone could go and listen to that. This is at a very young age she was being molested, and this is at the age from the age of 4. This was the interview I had with a lady called Peace yesterday, and it was so, you just can't hold back tears. It was so emotional. I just wish everyone reads this book. This thing called Scars, and this communication breakdown in the family can cause a lot of problems that are not meant to be there. And someone facing trauma, and every point you say, oh, this is what happened, they won't believe, they didn't believe her. So that kept going on. And this is something we want to be able to recognize in our children. That's why this topic is very relevant, carrying on from last night's interview with the lady about this thing called scars. So I wish everyone goes to watch that video and listen. I'll go on to the next question because I know our time is running out and people have a lot of questions, or is it comments to add to it. So I will go on to the next one, is about role. What role does social media play in children's mental health, and how can parents help manage its impact? And the reason this question is very relevant is because some people downplay the effect of social media on children. Some people overhype it. And so we want to know what role does social media play in children's health? If you have any examples from what you've read about, or experience from someone else or from yourself, please share and let us all learn together. So how can parents help manage the impact? We've heard of cyberbullying and all sorts. So over to you, guests.
Just to mention very quickly before we get into the discussion today, social media is a platform where we need to guide our children. We've seen a few from children who committed suicide because they were bullied. All sorts of things happen, and this comes back again to trust and also your relationship with your children. When you have a good relationship with your children, you can talk to them, make them understand that it's not everything that people put out there is true. Sometimes children could be gullible. They think, oh, this is true. Oh, look at how they're dressed. I want that and I don't have it. Oh, look at the house they're living, and all of that. Some children cannot just handle the fact that they see somebody they think they want to aspire to be, but that person portraying whatever behind there is not true. So guide our children. We need to teach them. Like I will keep going back to the Bible. The Bible tells us that we should train up a child in the way they should go. When they grow, they will not depart. We need to let them know what is true. We need to let them know that they are predators out there wanting to destroy them, wanting to steal from them. Their emotional well-being, their mental health, all sorts of, they want to steal from them. So they need to be aware of the environment where they live, that it's not everything that glitters is gold. So they know that, and receiving it from you, their parents, is very important, not from their friends. You see what I mean? You're talking from a place of trust and a place of love and a place of concern, and they know that when my mom says this, I believe it. You see what I mean? But when a friend, oh, don't worry about that. But when you have that relationship with your child, they will never forget what you say to them, because they know that you are talking from a place of love. So it's very important that we put that in our view all the time, showing them love, letting them know that what you're saying to them, you're not just saying it, but because it's for their own good. I think it will be received very well. So social media, we need to guide them properly.
Yes, and that stems from our very first discussion on Talk One, digital parenting. We've said so much about digital parenting, social media effect, and screen time and all of that. So please, if you haven't watched that, please go and watch it. And we actually did an extensive talk on that. So yes, how can what was that question again? So what
What role
role?
does it play?
Yes.
I think that it does play a very important role in the lives of our children and in their mental health. And any parent that doesn't recognize the fact that social media is here to stay is deluding themselves. Someone said something about parenting, and it says parenting is influence. So whoever has the greater influence on your child is parenting them really. And if the social media has that influence, I saw something just flash across the screen that for media has its good and its bad. No, so it's run by yeah, not really, because we're on social media now. So I say social media is run by the enemy, but we're on social
Well,
media and we're putting out good things. So it depends, but so it does have an impact on our children's mental health. There's no doubt about it, whether for good, majorly for evil. But what role can we as parents play? I think the first thing is to accept that it's here and it's here to stay, and then to regulate per level. So the exposure that a primary school child should have to social media shouldn't be the same kind of, or the same, and the exposure is a university or a teen should have to social media shouldn't be the same exposure that a 5-year-old should have. So we should be able to regulate social media, and there are good programs on social media for every age actually. But it depends on how we bring it out. So to support them, regulate, accept that it's here to stay, look at the good sides of social media, regulate per age and per level of the child. And yeah, basically I do something, and I'll give a story to say that, because I always like the practical sides of these things. My son had a friend that was into music at some time, and I was following his Instagram handle. And one day I saw something on the Instagram handle that I thought to myself, his mother might not like this. And so what I did was to tell the mother, like, look at this handle and look at what is on it. And that day she was in my house. She searched for the handle on her phone, but she couldn't see it. And then when she got home, we thought maybe she didn't have internet or anything. Then she realized that he had blocked her, from following following him. And but she later got to him because I screenshot and I sent to her. And the next thing, so maybe like some weeks after that, I tried to follow him, and I found out I couldn't find him on my phone too. He had blocked me too. And when I told my son said, "Oh, we gave you a privilege and you misused it."
ah,
So I learned my lesson. But I follow my children too on social media, and it's funny because sometimes what they put on their stories, I have opportunities to ask them, "Oh, what's this all about? What are your thoughts? Are this really your thoughts about what you've posted?" Or and sometimes they say, "Oh, well, I didn't even look at it in depth," or "It's the title of a movie." There was one that my mom was so upset about it and said, "Look at what is on your son's story." It was something like Descent into Darkness or something like that. But it was the title of a movie. It was a movie poster. And she said, "Oh, she's so worried." And so I had to talk to him about it. And he said, "Oh, it was a movie." But it opened up other another avenue or channel of information. So that's something we could do. Also, we could follow them surreptitiously on social media, and we'll find avenues to talk to them about the stuff that's going on in their lives.
I'm glad they have they have the courage to block, but when you block the good people out, that's where the problem comes in. So what would you say lesson learned from there? Would you rather not say anything the next time, or have a different way of approaching it?
I think lesson learned will be, I'll still say something because I want anybody to tell me what was
Yes.
happening. but
True.
we would be very quiet about it, and we won't let them know.
Yes.
So because some children, like, I know that I'm not on TikTok, for example, but my son is on TikTok. I don't have his TikTok handle, but I have his Instagram handle. He's not good on Facebook, but at least on some way I follow him. But some children have duplicate handles, so they would allow their parents to follow them on one, but there's one hidden to their friends. So, well, you can only do what you can
I
do.
know. I know. Wow. Wow. Thank you very much for saying that, because not many people will think about, following your child on their social media. Just even if it's going to bring up discussions, a way of keeping tab. And of course, you can't always put on the teacher's hat all the time, like we just said. Sometimes it's just about knowing what goes on in their minds, and also having something to talk about when we need to. And we know the negative effects of social media, anxiety and depression. Some people are constantly looking for all the likes or all the comments that people say about them. There's cyberbullying, online harassment. There's the addiction to screen time. Maybe the first thing they do when they wake up, even adults sometimes are in that situation as well. Pick up the first thing is to pick up the phone when you wake up and see who has sent a message, or what are you missing out in a group or something. And then having unrealistic standards, like we know that people flash things all around the social media. Some people stand behind in front of someone else's car just to take their best shot, and say, oh, this person is doing well and we finished together, or hey, this person has hit millions, I am still in 100. And all of these things, they're just they're not real. So making them aware that well, I'm sure they are aware, they teach them in school, but just also putting our own icing on whatever cake they're being served, either in school or wherever it is, and let them know what social media, the good and the bad, the good, the bad, and the ugly of social media. That will help them with their mental health. They don't have to be, so that they don't get anxious and depressed unnecessarily. Thank you very much for your comments. Let me mention the names here. Thank you, Luasheon Adeyemi. Thank you, Chavez. Thank you, Esther Sorrow. Thank you. I'm just using the names I can see on the screen. Oreolua Anamusi. Thank you very much for joining us. Someone says we need to constantly communicate with them and let them know that all that glitters is not gold, because sometimes they see these things, they get carried away. But
I think somebody also said that we also have to have good social media skills and habits, because they come from us. And I must say that a lot of parents also have issues, because we also go to social media for likes, for comments and stuff like that. So when our kids see us do that, they also want to do the same thing. So sometimes we have to look inwards too and say, oh, I have to curb my habit, so that, especially for the children that are at home and have an impressionable age, are also able to see, that it's very addictive even for adults, but I'm able to curb it, and then they might also pick up on that too.
Yeah, true. Thank you. And someone also says we need God's wisdom and direction, and also says we need to constantly let them know and understand who they are in Christ. Yes, thank you very much for all of the comments. It's making it very interactive. I know our time is going, but it's useful to have people interact with the topic. We've talked about parents. Oh, did I talk about? I've lost track now. Okay, we've talked about how parents can create a safe environment. We've talked about what role social media plays. Now the next one is, how can parents distinguish between normal mood swings? Oh, actually I asked that and I think it was answered. And more serious mental health concerns like anxiety or depression. I think it's been answered. It's been answered. First question. Next one is, what are some practical ways to help children develop emotional resilience and coping skills? because people are impatient. Even not just children, even adults are impatient. We want the microwave. Oh, prophet, suddenly, sharp, sharp, sharp. We just want it now, now, now. A microwave kind of life. So how can we teach, or what are the practical ways to help children develop emotional resilience and coping skills? I think one of the ways we said one of the ways the last time we talked was all this impulse buying attitude. They can wait, and not distinguishing between wants and needs from the financial financial literate children. Developing resilience and coping skills can also be learned from not saying yes all the time, making them wait. Patience is a fruit of the spirit. For those who are Christians here, because I realize that we are all from different backgrounds. But yeah, patience is one thing that children also need to learn. So how do you think? What are the practical ways to help them develop these skills?
I think one way to help our children, because children learn by copying. They learn by seeing us do certain things, like the last speaker mentioned as well. They look at what we do. If you're on social media for 20 hours and you are telling them not to be there for 21 hours, it doesn't make sense, because they've seen you overuse your time on social media as well. So they are copying what they're seeing you do. But when we portray good behavior, resilience ourselves, they see us how we cope, life skills, spending, how we deal with our friends, how we deal with people, how we speak, how we meditate on the word of God and also exhibit what the word of God says. Our children will learn this. They will learn resilience. They will learn coping mentality and how to actually cope with life, because they too will go through some of these things themselves. They will, because as they grow up, they will go through relationship, maybe financial difficulty for a little while, job loss, all sorts of things that we have been able. How did we cope? What does the word of God say about these things? What are we teaching our children? How are they what are we mimicking to them, and how will they see this thing? How will they respond? So we as parents have a lot to do by letting them know that, see, what we are trying to do, what the word of God says, and they are watching, and as they see you do it, they will do it. That's why I keep going back to that scripture. Train a child in the way he should go. When they grow up, they will not depart from it. So when they see that you've coped, when you don't lie, oh, tell that friend I'm not here, or all sorts of things. Even when you go through tough times, let them understand that these things happen in life. You are not superhuman. Things could happen, but this is how you dealt with it. You've used this part of the word of God to deal with it, and you have not given up. So these are all important as parents to help our children. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Uncle Jennifer says we should teach our children to wait and not say yes at all times. There's a time for no. Even God himself, who is generous to us all, doesn't give us everything we need at all. Doesn't say yes all of the time. It says no, it says wait. So we should learn from our Father. Thank you very much for that. It also says, secondly, our home rules should apply to all, not just them. Yes. So when we say we're doing screen time, or we're restrictions, or we're doing no phone zone in maybe while eating, we should abide by that rule as well, and apologize when we break the rule, so that they know what to do when they do so. Somebody says, yes, having good role models to copy are very important. I think it's unlikely. Thank you, Kiana. I think it's unlikely to remove social media, but managing correctly, is a good skill for life in this generation. Amy Maro says, by giving an important role within the household makes the child feel valued, respected, but also included. And getting them into constructive and meaningful activities will keep them Occupied. Thank you. So we need to occupy our minds. It says an idle hand is a devil's workshop. That's when they start getting different vices. We don't want them going down in their mental health. We want them to be up there and confident and all of that. So thank you very much.
I think one of the practical ways that we can develop emotional resilience in our kids is to give them age appropriate tasks. So many times we don't we think children can't do a lot of things, and they can. I For example, I find the most effective way of disciplining a child, especially a toddler, is not to take things from them, but to tell them to sit down. They will cry the house down, but that would show them how to cope with, you know, um, with issues and not allow them to run about. So the next time you tell the child to sit down, or the child is going to sit down for 30 minutes, that child is going to sit down or behave themselves. So it's also giving them practical skills, like maybe gardening, maybe showing them nature, and telling them that life is in season and in cycles, and a lot of us as parents, especially Christian parents, I must say, have a have that outlook to life, that everything must go smoothly, everything must, God must answer all my prayers, so to speak. And so when the children fall into um low, when they're in the valley, situations in their life, they think something is wrong. And nothing really is wrong, because life is in circles, life is in seasons, and the good comes with the bad. So when children understand that, or when even young adults understand that, look, things are not always good, life is not linear, and so there's sometimes that, things will happen that you didn't plan for, then they're more resilient. And then also we must allow them to face the consequences of their actions. A lot of times we tend to take over the consequences of the actions, and so they don't even learn the lesson, that life is teaching them, and so they don't become resilient, because that's one of the issues we have with our children. They're not as resilient as we are, and that's because for a lot of times we've carried them too much, so that they don't even they're not streetwise, they're not street smart, they don't know their left from their right, and they don't even know what to do in certain situations, because we've not allowed them to grow, because maybe we're afraid of the environment. We're afraid that, oh, look at this one, he might not even know anything, he just goes outside and they'll just carry him away, but we're not building resilience within them if we continue to do things for them.
Yeah, true. And excusing them all the time, like bailing them out all the time. I think we mentioned it in one of the talks, like financial literacy, where we said, oh, they've finished spending all their money. The next thing you're thinking of is, okay, let me just top it up with £10, with £20. Every time you do that, they begin to slide into habits, and you won't be able to cope. So yes, let them face their consequences when it is necessary, and they learn from it. Because with resilience, they are able to face any challenges that come their way without going into depression, because it seems depression is a very common word now with amongst adults, amongst every time you see people say, oh, I'm depressed, or so such words should not be a thing around us. Yes, if they are actually depressed, and we realize it's a mental thing, we need to step in quickly. But using that as a way out of any situation shouldn't work with us as parents. And the next someone says, let us not portray that we are perfect in all things. Let us always acknowledge our mistakes and show them how we overcame those challenges. Yes, when they see you pray about every little thing, and yeah, somebody's saying absolutely, Tara. Thank you very much for that. We'll go on to the next question. I can see we're 45 minutes into it. Is there any other addition to it before I go to the next question?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about, like, one of the greatest greatest gifts that we can give to our children is for them to find a sense of purpose, especially when building emotional resilience. So when children understand that their actions matter, that they have unique strengths, that they can contribute to the world in meaningful ways, they develop confidence and emotional resilience and a strong foundation for life and whatever they're going to face in their life. But of course, it's very difficult in a world that's filled with distractions, social media, peer pressure, and constant comparisons. You know, they're swiping through social media and they're seeing these beautiful AI filters, and it looks so different to me when they look in the mirror. But of course, it's not reality. So helping the children find a sense of purpose from a very young age is very important, and it requires intentional effort. So it starts with discovering their strengths. You see, every child has something that makes them light up, whether it's creativity or problem solving, kindness or leadership. Every single child has a unique gift. And as parents and caregivers, our role is to nurture these gifts in them by observing, knowing them, what excites them. We can ask them questions, open-ended questions like, what makes you feel proud of yourself? And expose them to different activities to help them explore their own interests. But beyond personal interests, purpose comes from letting them make a difference. So children thrive when they realize that their actions, no matter how small, it can have like a simple act of kindness, like helping a sibling or writing a thank you note or sharing their talents. They're a part of something bigger, you know, and the way we communicate every day, responsibilities can also help shape their mindset. So instead of saying, oh, do your homework or you're going to fail, you know, we can reframe it or say something different like, well, learning helps your brain grow and prepares you for amazing opportunities. You see, when children understand the why behind why they're doing something, they develop an intrinsic motivation rather than just following instructions. So it becomes more meaningful to them. And of course, setbacks are inevitable.
Yeah.
Teaching children resilience is the key. So rather than protecting them, like we said, from every single failure, we can actually guide them through the challenges by celebrating their efforts instead of just success. So, you know, we're valuing, teaching them the value of trying and making an effort. So instead of like keep saying, oh, I love how you're so smart, you're so good, we can simply just say, well, I love how you kept on trying even when it was really tough, you know, and this reinforces perseverance. So we can role play different scenarios like handling conflicts and managing disappointment. So all these things help them to equip them with problem solving skills. And I just believe that giving children meaningful responsibilities, whether it's taking care of a pet or planning a family activity, incorporating them in household tasks, or it builds their confidence and a sense of contribution. So yeah, that's what it's about. It's about helping children develop these skills within themselves so that they are not just lost in the world and thinking that, you know, everything that happens to them is just, you know, it's just it's just happening to them. But they're taking ownership of what's happening to them by they can contribute to their own surroundings and life around them. So yeah,
True.
that's my
Thank you. Letting them realize that life is full of ups and downs. And so we need to navigate every situation intentionally. Thank you very much. I'll go on to the next question, which is about exams. And some people don't like exams. And I think many people are in the same boat. But, you know, there are school pressures, there are A-levels, there are tests and assignments and coursework and so many things. So how does school pressure and academic stress affect a child's mental well-being, and what can parents do to support them?
Do you want me to?
Yes, please. You've been through that route.
First and foremost, I would say we need to support our children. You need to know your child. And the way to know your child is that relationship with your child. Don't compare your child to any other child or your friends' children. Your child is unique to you. You know their strengths, you know some of their weaknesses, even if you don't know all of it. During exam time, I'll give you practical example of what I do for my children. They both finish university now, and to the glory of God, they're both working. You know, you as parents, you know, you have that nurturing responsibility, and they will not always be with you. You know, at some point they're going to leave, But the time you have them, enjoy that time and make sure that you are accountable to God for those children that God has given you. How did you spend your time to nurture them, to help them, to support them during exam? What I do for my children is I prepare a lot of food so that to ease that tension of the exam. They're coming back from uni to cook and all of them and all of that. I cook, I take it to their campuses, even for the friends they live with. Once in a while I do that, but I do it during exam time, to help them, to support them. And I also encourage them, do your best. You see what I mean? I'm not like a parent that says, oh, you must get all A's, you must get this, you must get that. No, don't put extra pressure. They have pressure, because of exam. But letting them know, understand that you love them despite. And we've said this earlier on in this program. You love them for who they are. God loves them as well. And your responsibility is to just go into your closet and be praying for them. You can't do the exam for them, but you can pray for them. You can pray for them. You can pray for strength. You can pray. I also work in a university, and I've seen students, they just freeze. They don't even know what to write, and some of them just start crying in the exam room. Their brain is just frozen. They've been studying. They are good children, but that happened. So, but most of the time, you let your children know that, see, take it easy. I tell my children, once you come back from the library, sleep, have good night's sleep, and then make sure you eat well. So these are some of the practical ways we can support our children. Once they know we've got their back, and they know that, mom, no pressure from you. Help them, support them, whatever way to alleviate the fears and all the pressure they are already having as a result of going through exam. And I think that will help. I'm sure other people will have other ways we can help to support them. And I would like to learn more.
Right. I can't hear you actually.
Oh, sorry, I was mute because yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I was saying thank you very much for that for that insightful contribution. Is there anyone else that wants to say anything? I was about saying for us, well, in my house, when it's time for exams, whoever is doing one of those major exams, we just take them off the chores list and let others do so when it's their turn, they know they're going to be off the chores list, so then there's no extra pressure on them. And some other things we try to do. So what are those things you've been doing, or you will do, or you've learned other people do? Yes, those online, please type in the chat. Yes, you wanted to say something, Nicola?
Yeah. So I remember when my daughter, she's 18 now, when she was going through her exam periods. And I used to help her by, you see, what Patricia has said is very key, because every child learns in a different way. So we can find out how our child is best at receiving information and retaining information, and we can literally go ahead and help them with that. And so my daughter, for instance, she liked to verbalize things, and she liked to, she liked to understand that she knew what she was saying. She liked to talk through it with me. So that would make sure that she understood what she's saying. So it's being present and available for your child during those times to just talk to you about it. Because a lot of the time we're so busy, we're working away, and they're going through these things, and we just keep checking in with them. Oh, how's your exams going? How's your exams going? But a lot of the times what we can do to help their mental health is literally help them with the process of the learning and the retaining information. And afterwards, they're going to feel so much more like they've retained the information, and that we're supporting them in this journey with them as well, which definitely helps their mental health. Some of the things that I've seen in practice is children actually who are really under pressure with this kind of thing, and they start to develop physical health problems. So not just mental health, but they might start to have headaches or stomach aches, sleep disturbances, and even withdrawal from social activities. And this is actually called psychosomatic disorder. So it's where the mental health problems, and it's not necessarily a massive mental health problems, but even things like stress and anxiety affect the mental health. It's now starting to impact their physical body. So yeah, sorry, I do have children with me at the moment, as you can hear in the background. But it's important that we can give some practical advice to our children, like proper nutrition during this time, making sure they're eating well, like Patricia said that she kindly made food for the whole school?
Middle school. No, the
Yeah,
roommates, I guess.
roommates. Yeah. So it's just ensuring that there's good nutrition in place, because that has an impact on our whole physical, mental, everything to do with our whole body as well. And it makes it more easier for us to focus and retain information when we're not hungry.
Yeah, thank
So,
you very much. That was funny. Dinner lady. How you become a dinner lady? I think sometime for the whole school. All right. Thank you very much. Let me read the comments here before we take more from our guests. We have Kenna says, I thank my parents for encouraging me and supporting me when I did well. And when I didn't do as well, I was supported to do better. More learning, revision with me, and it's really helped my self esteem. And she went on to say, it made me want to do well rather than being forced to, and helped me develop independence in my studies. I and some of my friends start to hate learning because of the lack of choice, pressure, or fear. Thank you very much for adding that. I've got as a Soro says, open communication, nurture them and equipping our children with good morals, teaching them to be confident and self-reflective. And Amy Maro says, get outside help. Tutorials help them to manage their revision time constructively by allowing enough break times, good diet, enough sleep, it is etc. Thank you very much for all of those comments. Getting help is another thing. Getting help. I will go on to the next question. Or is there anything else someone wants to say before I go on to the next question? All right, good. Thank you very much. So the next question is, what are some healthy ways for children and teens to manage stress, especially in today's fast-paced world? Actually, it's what I wanted to say was about professional help. When should parents seek professional help for their child's mental health, and what resources are available? Um, does anyone want to say anything about that? That is like a second to the last question.
We have a professional, yeah. She should be the one saying that.
Okay. Go on, professional, Nicola. So, when should parents seek
Yeah.
professional help, and what
Well,
are
it's important. I mean, oftentimes what happens is there's a stigma around seeking mental health and professional help, isn't it? Because of, the shame, embarrassment, and also, we feel like we can fix it ourselves. So we don't need to go and seek professional help on any of these issues. But of course, unfortunately, there gets to a time where we're quite limited in the resources that we have, and we see that the problem is still ongoing. And it doesn't matter how many times we talk to them, it doesn't matter how many times we introduce these methods that we've been speaking about today, we still see that there's some kind of challenges going on with the way that they're behaving and they're acting and what they're saying. So they still might be, unfortunately, self-harming, or they still might be staying in their room for long periods of time and willing to share and talk. And we just know there's something wrong. There's something going on there that we can't put our finger on, and they're not being forthcoming with the information. So when we start to see some of these issues that are out of our control to be able to help from our own selves, I think that, first of all, we can start to we have to make sure that we get and support ourselves as parents. So, sorry, so you have to make sure, and this is my little baby that's here, and she is maybe 2. And she wants some of the limelight, don't you? But yes, so basically we should start to seek professional help for a child's mental health, where as soon as we feel like it's out of our control, in the sense of they're not opening up to us and we're not able to manage it in the ways and all the techniques that we know how, basically.
Yeah, thank you very much. So
I think that we're fortunate enough that children nowadays don't have that stigma, or when it comes to seeking professional help or seeing a therapist. I think the problem really is with us as parents, thinking, oh, why should I go to see therapist for my child, or why should I send my child to the therapist? But the children in themselves, at least the generation X and alpha and whatever they are, don't, they almost see it as a matter of course, to go and see a therapist, and so that for us is they're more amiable to it, because you really can't help somebody that doesn't want to be helped. But once we understand that for parents, it's not it's not the end of the world, or it's not so big a deal, and the earlier that we do it, the better for the child, then um we should go ahead and seek professional help. So sometimes the child might not even be showing signs of any mental health, but they want to say, oh, I want to see a therapist, maybe someone they can talk to about issues they don't want to talk to us about, and so if that is the case, then it's the thing, I think, is guiding them to the right place to get those professional help, not somebody that's just going to twist their brains and give them all sorts of funny ideas, and make them believe that because they are professionals.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. So seeking help is something we need to um, always take on board. When people have eye problems, they can't see well, we take them to the opticians. When they're maybe there's something wrong with their teeth, we take them to the dentist. If there's something wrong with their mental health, why not take them to the mental health facilities available? So I guess the stigma needs talking about the stigma of if a child is going through mental stuff, they need to be seen. They definitely need to be seen, and seen by a professional. And I also realize that some people, the children themselves, may actually want to, it will have helped them. I mean, talking about the the most terrible situation where the child now takes their life, commits a suicide. I'm sure if the help was given, that would have been averted. But because other people are not being sensitive, or the stigma around mental health, they ended up losing that child altogether. And that is not where any parent should be. That is not what any parent should have to go through. So please, let us get help when help is needed. Yes, we do the prayers as you're taking it physically. Spiritually, you're taking it physically as well. Just like someone who has a headache, you're asking, oh Father, this headache, blood of Jesus and all that. Well, you don't just sit down there. You take some paracetamol if it's getting terrible, and you still keep praying about it. So we all have different ways of viewing these things. But I pray that we catch the signs on time, so that no one has to go through the the ugly part of mental health for children and teens. Let's see, is there any question? I have just one more question before we go. Let me read all the comments. Get out. Okay, somebody's talked about help. Okay, Jennifer says, I think it is necessary to let our children know that we are not perfect and never compare them to any. Exactly. All children are different. Even adults, we don't like being compared. So why should children be compared? So yes, no one likes being compared with anyone else. Observe changes in your child's behavior and your children's behavior. Thank you very much to Esther Sorrow. And she also says, education and life can be stressful for our children. Teach children coping strategies for positive mental health. Coping strategies. So what are those coping strategies? And that which takes me to actually the last question. What are those coping strategies? What are the simple daily practices families can adopt to improve overall mental well-being at home? I think one of them is drinking water. When you have water in the brain, and then it helps. So that's one thing I'll put on there. Any other please, can you tell us what are those
I would say affirmations. When my kids were much younger, And we did the affirmations when I was taking them to school. While I was driving, we'll do the affirmations. And just last week, my daughter reminded me of the fact that, oh, we did that. They learned how to say Psalm 91 from the beginning to end, as a result. But it was during the ride to school, and we didn't live too far from school either. So maybe a 5-minute ride, but we did the affirmations, and then I'll say things like, I'm there every day, I'm getting better and better, I'm beautiful, just stuff like that. And it, looking back now, they can relate to it, they can remember it. It's just like Patricia said, over and over again, train up a child in the way that they should go. When they grow, they will not depart from it. So that, for me, really, really did work. Affirmations daily on the way to school, and then we rested for the weekend and started on Monday again. So that's one thing.
Yeah, thank you very much. Affirmation.
That's a good one. I love my affirmations. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those that love it will eat the fruit. One of the ways that my daughter, simply daily practices that families can adopt. Okay, journaling. One of the ways that my daughter was able to communicate and express how she felt and keep herself on an even keel was through journaling. And she would have like books and books of diaries and whatever. And, I wasn't allowed to touch them or see them, even though I desperately wanted to. But I made sure I stayed clear of them for confidentiality. But I believe that really helped her make sense of whatever she was going through, whatever age stage she was going through. So I think that's a really good way to. Some children prefer just to get it all out on paper, and then they feel like they've released it out of their system, and then they can move forward. And so that's another daily practice that's quite good that you can encourage children to do.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any other?
And may I add that for the child that doesn't like to write, I found that doing voice notes is good too, as a putting your voice, having a voice journal, so to speak, is also good, because by the time they play it back to themselves, they understand better what they're going through and help themselves too.
Yeah. I'll also add taking a break, like having games together with them. Just get it. Sometimes when my children are staying too long in their room, everyone come downstairs. Take a break. You see, go into one, they're studying, go into another, they're reading. Okay, everyone come downstairs, let's play a game together. Let's play puzzles. Let's just, talk and stop staying in your room. So yeah, anything else?
I always feel like every child has a different love language. Sorry, Patricia, but I find that finding out what different children's love languages are really helps. Of course, we have the 5 different love languages, but what my daughter's, for instance, hers is words of affirmation. So if we're sitting down at a dinner table, we might go into, let's say something positive about each other. Let's say something nice that we really like about each other. And then that really encourages everyone to feel valued and, a part of the family. Yeah. So little things like that make people feel heard and valued and seen, which enhances mental health.
Yeah, true. Thank you.
I
Yes.
think older kids as well, exercise, going to the gym does help them, calming exercise helps their mental health as well. So we need to encourage them to do that.
Yes, great. Yep. An exercise could include dancing and all of that as well. Okay. Oops, my battery is going on. Yeah. Anything else? All right. I think we've done justice to this.
Have a good dance together as a family.
Yes, dance.
Put some music on and shake, and that really helps them release. It's all about releasing energy, in the sense of anything that's been, troubling them for the day. We're living in a fallen world, in a world that's just full of issues and distractions and weight and heaviness and this and that. But if we just come together as a family, or even without a family, just come together and just have a way to just boost yourself up, in terms of just listening to some good music, some worship music, to just release whatever's been, holding you inside, and just release it to God. Yeah.
Also, one other way is going for a walk. Sometimes we've been indoors all day. Let's just go out. Let's just walk around the block and come back in. Fresh air into the lungs. Okay, someone says early interventions from professionals is important. Yes, early interventions, but not waiting till it all goes down the hill before people start looking for professionals. So right from the very early stages, just one changing environment or changing something can help that child. All right, anything
Can I
else?
just say, it doesn't have to be, so early intervention is good, but it doesn't have to, early intervention could be something as simple as ringing up a helpline that's confidential. Maybe Young Minds or Childline, or just something very like, we'd call them like an intermediary, before. You don't have to go straight in to like the NHS or something like that. There are many helplines and support services that even before you get to that stage that you can get support from,
Okay.
and
Do
that
you
is
want to
classed as
mention?
seeking professional advice. Yeah.
Do you want to mention? Did you say a child line or? I thought
Well,
child line was
Mind,
for
you can
social
go to
services.
Mind.
What? Sorry.
No, but Mind
Mind.
UK.
Oh,
It's good.
okay.
Young Minds,
Okay.
Action for Children. So all of these are like parent support groups that we can actually go to and get advice from and speak to other parents, other professionals about before we take the plunge to go straight in to the official. Not saying don't do that, because of course if you're noticing your child that there is a problem that needs immediate help, please get professional help in the sense of call 999, go to your mental health service, but just to let you know, there are other ways as well that you can seek professional advice without going straight in to the primary healthcare services.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for that. All right. If there are no more questions or comments, we will call it a day or a night. Thank you very much. And for those who are still in the day, all right.
Thank you so much.
Talk to you. Thank you. Thank you
Thank
very much, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to our guests. Let me put this away so we can see the names. Thank you, Nicola. Thank you, Tara. Thank you, Patricia, Auntie Patricia. She's my aunt, so I can't say Patricia. Thank you very much for being here. Please, let's continue to bless other people with what God has deposited in us, and that is comments like this. So thank you to those who were behind the scene teaching us about how they play games with their sons, how they what you do, the family voice, and all sorts that have been mentioned. Thank you very much. Positive affirmations is important for self-confidence. If they don't get it out there, if they don't get the confirmation and positive affirmations outside, why don't we incorporate it inside? In fact, let us start from inside, the four walls of our families, even before they go outside, so that everything they get outside, which if it's an addition, will work as an addition rather than it being the main thing. So parents, let's be intentional. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. This is what we call it a night. Have a good weekend. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Parents supporting parents, thank you very much. Thank you for being here. It's a night. Have a good evening. Bye.
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 Have you subscribed and liked? Welcome to Dr. Bummy Able TV, where we inspire and inform you endlessly, with knowledge to guide, uplift, and grow. Thank you for joining, it's a journey, let's go. To all the new subscribers, welcome aboard. We're so glad you're here, there's so much in store. Returning friends, thank you once again. Together we'll learn and share the game. From wisdom to insight, each video's a gift, helping you rise, giving your spirit a lift. So hit that subscribe, stay tuned to see all the great things on Dr. Bummy Able TV. To all the new subscribers, welcome aboard. We're so glad you're here, there's so much in store. Returning friends, thank you once again. Together we'll learn and share the game. To all the new subscribers, welcome aboard. We're so glad you're here, there's so much in store. Returning friends, thank you once again. Together we'll learn and share the gain.